back up a lung here in the background. All right, everybody. Just on time. We're on the Pearlo Wisdom Show is live and in your wherever you are right now. I'm Pearlo Wisdom. You're listening to my NHL Pearls of Wisdom. This is Joe Borek, and we are on the Pearlo time.
Yeah, big time. Technical difficulties
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
bring up just go with the flow time
yeah,
is another way to put it.
yeah. 3-ish Eastern is where we're at. Three, pushing on 3:30. Anyways, Joe is back after having a little bit of a sabbatical yesterday. We had the GOAT, John, from Off the Wall on yesterday. It was fantastic. And it's going to be fantastic again. We Before we get into the games, I talked to Goat about it uh, a little bit. We might as well get right into some of the bigger newses that's going on. First of all, the news for today that I suppose that the Philadelphia Flyers probably won't be playing until what day is it?
At least Sunday, and that game might end up being postponed as of right now, we're hearing as well. So,
Yeah,
at least Sunday.
that's the New York Rangers game. That would be the New York
Correct.
Rangers game if it does happen. I just did a podcast. I love. Okay, wait a sec. I love the logo hockey news reports, but I got to figure out how to turn it into something that I can use from PDF. And
A
Joe
website,
just
like I
showed
told
me how to told me how to do it. I'll figure it out,
you. Yeah,
but I got to transfer it from PDF. But
the Holy
anyways,
Grail, as they say.
I just did a podcast with Isaiah from O&B. That was really cool. I did that this morning. And we were talking about basically that. But I mean, there's not much to say. There's people that know what they're doing and they say they can't play, they can't play. Right?
Yeah, I mean, some guys, you just gotta go with the flow. I mean, this season, you can't get mad when a pandemic causes teams to pause, and the Flyers were because of precaution. It was probably the safe bet. It was probably the smart decision. Not probably. It was the smart decision. There was outbreaks amongst many other teams to the umph degree, obviously, with New Jersey. And so they just didn't want another outbreak, and I think it was the right decision, as Jamie and many other great writers, Bill Metzler and others for the Flyers, tweeted out. So it is what it is. We'll be fine. There's a lot more other hockey to watch. There's AHL hockey. There's a bunch of basketball. The Super Bowl wasn't as good as expected, but like there's a lot of good sports on still. So I mean, we'll be fine until at least Sunday, maybe Tuesday, whenever we would come back. If it would not be for the Rangers on Sunday.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's too bad, but like I said, there's not much you can do about it. Everybody get well, and we'll get back at her. So,
Yeah,
and then the other news that I never got a chance to talk to you about, of course, that we did talk about on O and B today. O and B podcast. They're affiliated with Flyers Nitty Gritty, right? And us,
yeah, 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 yeah.
steelflyers.com. Uh, we talked about Rutherford and his moving on, and also Berkey going over there as well. Hey, CL, how you doing? Berkey going over there to Pittsburgh as well. Hextall,
What's up, CEO?
Hextall going to be becoming the manager. How do you like this marriage? What do you see there?
Well, Burke's obviously an old-time executive, so he seems very excited. He tweeted out how excited he was as soon as he got the job to go to Pittsburgh. Hextall, it seems like he's going to be a guy that would rebuild. Burke, though's coming in at an older age, so who knows exactly, but maybe they're trying to do a middle thing, because as I said, I feel like Crosby's never going to get moved. You could see Malkin and Letang get moved, but then if you have Sullivan, who is a very good coach, pull the most out of guys and your goaltending plays more consistent, you could be a surprise team, just like the Panthers were for this season, or a team like Chicago. It probably would be in the postseason hunt if they had Tays and Doc with how well they're doing without them. So I would say it's a who knows territory, but for me, um, that's just the way I put it. It's just a who knows territory, but I think you're going to just see a lot this year. Is the way I would kind of put it.
You're going to see a lot of movement, I think.
Yeah,
It seems to me, okay, this is my theory. You can see. The rumor was that he was going to trade Letang, and they told him not to. Now, I think it's more like,
for Rutherford,
yeah,
yeah, that's what
for
I would do.
Rutherford, I should say that. I think it's more likely that upper management informed them that he should change Letang, trade Letang, and he said he didn't want to. And that pretty much was chiming in a rebuild that I imagine Rutherford wanted no part of. Hence the personal reasons. Or either that, or if he thought, okay, maybe I will give the rebuild a shot, and they went, we don't know if we're sure that you're the guy that we want to be making a trade like that. Because, and then him saying, okay, I see the writing on the wall. I'll be on my way out, which would, which seems almost more likely because it almost seems like Hextall was in their back pocket already.
Yeah, and he's a good move to have when you're trying to retool your farm system, bring out some older guys, send out some older guys, and bring in some new. So I think he's a good guy to have there. I don't think Malkin and Letang will last. I don't think Crosby's going to leave though. I feel like he'll be a lifer, but we'll see. I do feel like he's going to be the guy that's kind of the Jeter of the Penguins, and he'll be a lifer, and probably the Ovechkin of the Capitals. I don't see him going elsewhere either. So I mean, I would say that he's the lifer, but I could see the other guys moving for sure. I could also see Yari moving eventually if he doesn't fully pan out for assets in the future too.
Well, anybody can move now, right? Jari, Malkin, I think saw. I was making this point before that I thought that it seemed Malkin kind of saw the writing on the wall already. Um, it would explain a lot to his lack of, I don't know what you would want to call it, this season so far.
Commitment.
Commitment, I guess, yeah. It seems like his head's a little bit in the clouds. Uh, yeah, E for sure. Two solid games tonight for sure.
Hey, money.
E money. Fuck off. Anyways, yeah. So it seemed like they had Hextall in their back pocket already. I think that it's quite possible that Rutherford saw things moving behind him, and he could just tell that the energy was obviously changing, and he just took it upon himself and instead of being the elephant in the room and stepping down and letting it happen. Now, as far as Berkey is concerned, I think that's a fantastic move. Brian Burke changed the development systems for both Vancouver and Toronto and built the basis for what they have for development systems today, which are very effective. And
Agreed.
neither one of them were very effective when he got there. So I think that's a great signing.
Agreed. I think it's just interesting that he went to a team that seems like it's going to go to a rebuild at this point of his career. I agree that him, no matter who he goes to, it's a great signing. It's interesting just where he chose to go to. That's the other side of that. But he seems very excited and motivated from his tweet on Twitter. I think he's going to do great things, which is sad to say as a Flyers fan, along with Hextall, which is probably going to be able to bring some assets and a good amount of assets to the team in the farm system and have a double whammy there, a top exec with another exec that's been blooming into what people think could be a top guy. If he's able to balance both things, kind of making the top team good while also building the farm system, which with the Flyers, he just made us scrappy, competitive, not good. So we'll see what happens as he goes over time here, but it does seem like great moves from the get-go, and it sucks for Flyers fans, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think I mean, it gets pretty cool for Berkey if he can build something there, and then as he retires, he can slip off
Oh,
into.
it's great for Berkey. It's not great for us. That's my
No,
point.
what I mean is though, like you
Yeah,
said, at his age, going to a rebuild team, he can build something there, and then if he decides to move on and retire, he can just watch it flourish, right? And it's really what Burke has always been about. He's always been about. That's what his passion is young prospects and building development systems and stuff like that. That's what he's all about. So it doesn't surprise me
Yeah,
that he's going back into it from here. And I personally, I as much as I was rooting for him to be successful on Sportsnet, I wasn't really a big fan. Were you? Or did you even see it? Because it's Canadian football.
I've seen it because of I have NHL TV and anything in Canada they show you the period stuff, but they don't show you the post game like they do with the American stuff. So I've seen it. He was all right. I mean, he just said it like it was. He never really analyzed over like he just said it like he was coaching or managing a team basically and talking to the dudes amongst the team basically is how he was at the table still. Which I didn't have a problem with it, but it was probably because of the mix of everyone else. If it was just a studio desk where they do like ESPN sometimes, where there's one guy with Barry Melrose, that wouldn't have really worked. So but I think he's in the better position for himself. It seems like he likes being in this position better than being an analyst. So, congratulations to him. It just definitely is going to be a little bit salt in the wound for Flyers fans, that's for sure. And also, yeah, NHL Hockey News is right. Hornqvist is definitely showing the Pens that they are regretting trading him thus far, at least.
Which is, I guess you could look at that recent body of work that just happened with Rutherford, and I imagine Mario Lemieux's not a stupid guy. He sees these players come in and sees Matheson play like Matheson plays, CC,
Like nothing.
CC plays like what CC plays like, and
At least he's been better than Michael Matheson.
true, and yeah, he has, and then also Kapanen not really working all that well with Malkin.
No.
And so it's like you go, yeah, maybe it's time. And it was time. It was definitely time. It's time for a rebuild. I'm actually kind of excited for Pittsburgh now because I like rebuilds. I like to see how they manage to go about doing. Like we get to see possibly a Malkin trade. How cool is that?
Yeah, I would love to see where he gets traded. It would obviously be hilarious if somehow the Flyers are able to pull off a trade for Malkin because of the relationship with Hextall. If you're ever able to do it with a former team, it could be with your former GM. That's been done in the past. But I don't see it happening. But it would be funny if they're able to get a Letang or Malkin just because of the past relationship. That would definitely be hilarious. Obviously, if they pick up Crosby, that would be ridiculous. But yeah, I don't think he's going to get traded, as I prefaced before. But the other two would still be great pickups, and I would fall in love with them as quickly as they piss me off, and I hate them for playing with Pittsburgh and dominating us for all these years.
Now, the only way Crosby gets traded is if they trade everybody away and Crosby looks at the rebuild, and it turns into like a Detroit Red Wings rebuild or something like that, and he goes, "Yeah, okay,
Mhm.
it's time to move on." That's the only way. It's going to be his decision to say it's time. I think I want to move on somewhere else.
Exactly. He can't be moved anyway because of his no
No,
trade. I mean, it's not like they can move him anywhere anyway. So yeah, it's fully his blown decision. Yeah, I
it'll be
agree.
his full blown decision.
Or his
It's
full
just a
blown
PR
decision.
nightmare for it not to be. I think. Um, Now, that being said, continue with this. Hextall did make a very quick rebuild in Philadelphia. It happened, a lot of people thought it was going to be a lot longer than it was when he started it. But he did a really good job of trading for young prospects that weren't too far away, right? Uh,
True.
yeah,
Yeah.
so there was a lot of guys that just moved in. Konechny was a draft pick, though, right? Yeah, Konechny was. I'm trying to think of what
Correct.
some of those players were now off
Correct.
the top of my
Yes.
head, but he they moved he drafted a lot of players that moved in pretty quick. And your we don't see you anymore again.
Wait, that went off again. Can you hear
Yeah, I
me?
can hear you just fine. But
Uh,
so that's what obviously they're looking at that body of work.
Hold on. Let me try to fix that stupid thing
They're
again.
looking at that body of work and hoping at least that the rebuild isn't too painful and Hextall can do something of that nature. I still think Malkin has um, value out there where you can get some younger players that can be competitive and stuff like that. Same as
Agreed.
Letang. Uh, y- y-
I think Letang might have more value, honestly, at this point, because Malkin seems to be in a mail-in. Letang seems to still be playing with his full heart out no matter what. So that would make him have a little bit tad more value. And I think more teams need defense than an aging center. Also, that's also the other side of it.
yeah, I think though that um, people there's managers out there that would convince themselves that Malkin would be.
Oh, people will take Malkin. I'm just saying I can think of about 10 teams off the top of my head that need defense. I can only think of about six that really would probably need an aging center, and they probably would rather trade for a younger guy.
Maybe. I could see some desperate team like Nashville Predators, three cups guy, give up something like Johansson. I think we talked about this, didn't we?
Have
I
talked
could
about
see something.
Johansson before, yeah, because we said Duchesne or Johansson, trading one of the two to bring in Malkin, and then whatever other one you keep, you hope is able to become more consistent now, and Malkin there to alleviate some pressure. That's what we were talking about in a past show last week. You're right.
Yeah, I mean I could see some team out there that just really thinks this will be the cup for us to do something like that. You never know. Colorado. I mean, throw Malkin on Colorado. Whew, you know. Uh, who knows? There are teams. I haven't really put too much thought into it, but I'm sure there are teams that, and the teams that would do that, you could
Vegas,
probably.
if they had enough
Oh,
cap, would
jeez,
be
if they could find the
ridiculous.
cap, yeah, yeah, for sure. Vegas would probably. You might even be able to get. What's his name there? They're kind of no choice but to be number one guy right now.
Carlson,
Yeah, Carlson. You might be able to get a package of Carlson. Carlson's on the younger side, isn't
26 max, I want to say. I don't think he's over 26. He's probably 25.
he? Yeah,
I want to say 26 at
I'm
most.
looking it up right now. Carlson is 28, actually.
Oh, wow. I didn't
But
realize he
he's
was that
got
old.
5.9. He's still younger than Malkin, and he's still got about 4 years, 4 years of solid hockey in him.
Oh, yeah, that's not old. I just didn't realize he was 28. I thought he was a tad
Yeah,
bit
yeah, yeah.
younger.
But they could go Carlson and some Carlson and some younger, some Nicholas Hag or a first round pick or something like that. And at least they're still getting a competitive roster behind Crosby a little bit. Hag would be a great addition because he's ready, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's what Hextall would be doing at first because this ownership won't want to do a burn down rebuild. They have not shown any signs of that at all. They want to general manager that's going to be able to keep them in contention, but rebuild them in that way, and that's what the onus is going to be on Hextall to do something like that. I'm pretty sure.
Agreed. Yeah, agreed. I pretty much said that same, went along those same lines earlier. I think we pretty much covered and beat this topic to death.
Yeah, so we'll go into today's last night's
Well,
games.
yesterday's games?
Yeah, some
Yeah.
storylines there. So we'll start off. Well, we'll just go down the whole list. The Panthers versus Red Wings. That was yesterday, right? Yeah,
Correct. Yeah, that was a 2-1
Panthers
final.
versus Red Wings. Here's the
Yeah,
Red
correct.
Wings
That was a
again.
game that Hornquist won,
The
actually.
Red Wings being feisty and just holding on to that win pretty much. I watched that game and they pretty much held on, but they did outshoot the Panthers 32-22. Did you watch any of that game?
Yeah, I had it on in the background while doing stuff as one of my games. Hornquist, again, as a hockey news shout him out, looked good to pot his sixth goal. It ended up being the game-winning goal, the clutch power play goal there at the 8:04 mark of the second, which ended up holding out there. I thought Bob also looked better and more concise in this game. He had 32 saves, if I'm not mistaken, I believe. And no, he had 31 saves, 32 shots faced. He allowed in the one goal. He looked better in this game. I think all things pointed in the right direction because Florida's already playing great. They were able to ink out a win that they didn't play as consistent offensively, and Bob was able to play better, and your defensive played better. So I think that's really good to see for them going in the right direction. They've won in ways that they've just figured it out, and now they were able to continue to do that, but in a flip way of actually playing a good defensive game and Bob stepping up to be the Bobrovsky that we know for a long time rather than the struggling one of the last year and a half.
Yeah.
What's up,
Avatar
Avatar?
said Florida won. Yeah, Florida won for sure, but it was kind of a win for Detroit as a team to keep it as close as they did. Florida did outplay Detroit. Don't get me wrong. Don't. But last year, uh, I'm doing fantastic, Avatar. Just because you're here alone, just because you're here alone, I am now 10 times better than I was 30 seconds ago. Thanks for coming in. Uh, yeah, last year, this Detroit team might have gave up halfway through in a game like this.
Yeah, that's true. It is beneficial to actually show the fight and show the spunk. I think having Grice and having Bernier there, having the two guys helps because you have guys that are two vets you have confidence in, and that goes a long way.
Okay, sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah. No, it's all right, Avatar. It's all right. Hey, Peyton, how you doing? Yeah, that's what I liked about
What's
it.
up,
They
Pete?
fought through. It wasn't their best game I've seen Detroit play. Florida played really well, but they kept themselves in the game and scrapped. Were very scrappy, even though things weren't swinging Detroit's way much the way through it. They just never gave up, and that's something that you didn't see as much last year. There was a lot more games where they gave up last year, which bodes well for the Red Wings in general. Peyton, how you doing, my friend?
Agreed.
He's almost in reading week. I love Peyton when he said uh, next week is reading week, so I'll have all the time in the world. Which sounded like I have no intention of reading, which I'm sure that's not what he meant, but that's just what he sounded like. So we're gonna have Peyton on the radio next week on a couple times, probably all of us. Maybe we'll get three. Try to get John and Steele on too. Uh, that would be pretty cool. Zadina again keeps on showing up pretty well for Detroit. Nobody really stood out for me last night though. Uh, Except for again, Grice just keeps on playing very, very well. They're going to end up getting some pretty decent value for him. Um, I think they'll likely be traded at the trade deadline. Possibly not, though. They could give him a long-term contract. What would you say there?
Oh, who are you talking about? You cut out for a long bit there.
Oh, Grice. They have options now. They can sign him for a longer term contract, or trade him at the deadline. What would you think would be the best idea there? Because he is an older guy. It might be up
I
to him. Maybe he wants to head off and be in a more competitive team.
I think they'll end up trading him in the deadline. One, it could be because of what you just said, or want to be on a more competitive team. Two, I believe it's because Tomas Grice is a good goalie to have for a team that's going to be more competitive. For example, say if Quick, who's been accustomed to get injured, hopefully he doesn't, but if he does get injured, the Kings will be a team that now all of a sudden will want a veteran goaltender like Grice with a Pedersen. You have obviously they're competing somehow now. If the Sharks stay in competitiveness, they could look for someone. The Wild, who are a team that are competing with the Kings, the likely one to actually stay with the King to compete for that fourth spot, they could use another veteran goaltender rather than having just Kokkonen and Talbot now, who they obviously locked up quicker than anything. So I think there's a lot of different teams that Tomas Grice is going to be huge for. Obviously, knock on wood, it doesn't happen. But if like Moose or somebody were to go down, the Flyers would be a top team for him. So there's a lot of different things that'll happen that we can't predict the future. So we'll see. But I think he will get traded for assets at the deadline because it makes more sense for Detroit to grab as much assets as they can. They got Bernier to close out the season, and whoever they want to make the backup at that point, they'll be fine with.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I'd be tempted to offer him up a contract. I don't think Grice is really going to get much of a chance to be a number one unless Seattle picks him up, which
Exactly. Yeah.
which may be something that it could be in the cards. That would be a smart move by Seattle. Have a good veteran goaltender there for whatever young guys you want to bring in, and he can finally be that true number one time in his career, which would be good for Grice. The guy deserves it. He's worked his butt off to get to where he is. He's stopping everything like Bernier was last year in Detroit. So for Detroit, they have an opportunity to get some pretty good value. You are a big goalie guy. What's Detroit looking like for young goaltender prospects? I don't think it's that strong, is it?
Is Detroit swimming in young goaltender? No, they have, if I remember correctly, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head as I'm scrolling. I know they have Larson, Philippe Larson, who's still, I think, playing on loan. And then they have Brandstrom. I think they kept both of them on loan. Larson's the former sixth round pick that's developed all right, but is scheduling struggling with the Winterhawks and not doing good in the hockey Alvinscon League. I always mispronounce that one wrong, but he did do pretty good in the ECHL for Toledo Wally. So you have to see backup profile looks more like him. Victor Brandstrom then is a guy that's also a sixth round pick just 2 weeks later, 2 years later. He's looked a little bit better in the Liga, which is a pretty decent league. In 24 games, he has a 2.21 and a 900 save percentage. So, and he's playing for a team called Cuckoo. So that's a pretty fun name. Uh, so,
I like that. That's awesome.
so, so Victor Brandstrom definitely is a guy that I would keep a lookout for as like just a little scrappy kid that battles well. He's not small in terms of size; he's 6'5" and massive, but a kid that scraps well from Sweden. I wouldn't put it past him to be maybe a guy that comes into being a Lankinen-esque guy down in the future. But he's 23. You're looking at him being 26 probably if he hits that. So I think he's one of those later bloomers that comes in their mid 20s if he does become something. I'm more high on him than I am at this point on a guy like Larson, who's been a lot more struggle buddy, and then Kevin Boyle's just a minor league journeyman.
Yeah,
So
it's not much there, is what. And so I don't know if it wouldn't be a bad idea to give Grice a 2 3 year contract if he's willing to take it. Since you don't really have much coming up anyways, you're gonna need a good goaltender to put have some stability back there for your young defensemen to learn systems and stuff like that, which is very difficult to do as we've talked many times about it without a good goaltender. So that's assuming he wants to stay. It gives him an opportunity to be a number one for sure. He can, if he's got a family, he's moved around a lot. He may just decide, you know what, I think I'm just gonna stick around here. He may actually the little lady might just say, you know what, I think it's a good idea we stick around here after jumping from where Grice was. Where has he been? He's been. I can't even remember. I know he was in the island, but I can't remember where now off the top of my
yeah,
head. It
he
was.
was 100% in Long Island. He did good in Long Island. Tomas Greiss, he had some good years in Long
I think he
Island.
was in San Jose, wasn't he? Like he's jumped
A
around
lot. He
quite a
was
bit.
in San Jose to start his career, then Phoenix when it was still Phoenix, then Long Island.
Yeah.
It
So
was still Phoenix when Greiss played, not Arizona.
it's possible that it's time that the moving around stops here. Uh, I agree with you on Bobrovsky. He's looking a little better so far. Every time that Bobrovsky has a decent game, there's a communal sigh of relief that goes around the Florida, you know, dressing room, ownership, management, everything. They definitely need that to happen there because they're in big trouble if that doesn't
Yep,
happen. Um,
that's for
Newt was playing last night. He was scratched for a while, which is a little bit troublesome because he was a constant scratch over there at Columbus as well.
yep.
Um, the big thing for me is, and I thought that this was going to be the case. Mackenzie Weegar playing 23 minutes every night. He's their number two now.
Yeah, I mean, you have a guys that are pushed up your lineup a lot more than you want to have happen. I think solving that issue to take full effect of your team is their number one priority. That's for darn sure.
Yeah, they still want to get some more defensemen there, but
Yeah, hell yeah.
Uyghur certainly looks like he can be a 4 or 5. He's or a three
Yes,
three
just should
four.
not be two.
I don't think
Like,
so though.
yeah, that's the thing. He's not that. Usually, we should be more clear sometimes when we say we don't like him in this spot. That doesn't mean we don't like him. It just means we don't like him in the spot he's in. We probably do really like the player. He's a guy that should be more 3-4, not the second guy. That's all it is. So yeah, I agree with you full heartedly.
Yeah. So fun, scrappy team to watch, the Florida Pan. I still don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but they're fun. They're much more fun to watch than last year. It's a little sad to watch Duclair, who's playing really well, and not getting any goals. But I'm sure they'll come through. Last night they're saying the coach was like, "I'm fully behind." Uh, what's his name? What the hell is the coach's name? They're from Chicago. They play the totally drawn a blank. Anyway, saying that he's playing well, he's working hard, goals will score, so things will go fine for him. That'll come and it'll come to me. What is the coach? Somebody on the comment section will probably tell us.
Colleton or who? What coach are you talking about?
Florida Panthers.
Oh, the Panthers coach is it Tippett?
No, that's Oilers.
Oh, that's Oilers. You're right.
What Quinville. Jeez.
Quinville. That's right. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll
I
go
was
to
just thinking of really known coaches, and then I said Dave Tippett for some reason.
yeah. Um, So we'll go to the Oilers Senators, and I got to watch my Oilers again last night, and they're still um, the vision of not the vision, but they're still incredibly inconsistent. They almost lost this game to Ottawa. It, they kind of outplayed them a little bit, but Ottawa kept themselves in. That being said, Ottawa did just keep grinding it out, didn't give up, kept themselves in the game as much as they possibly could. But did you see the first two goals that Hogberg let in last night?
Yeah, they were not good goals. That's why I honestly feel you guys, Edmonton, lucked out in this game. Because if you had a goaltender that stopped those two goals, I don't think Edmonton would have won. It probably would have been a 2-1 game
Oh,
or something
Grice,
like that.
Grice was in Pittsburgh, Avatar told us. How come I don't remember that?
I don't remember.
Now that he says it, I do remember that he was. But yeah,
Uh, but either way, the periods were only shot ties in the first. Then Ottawa was 14-3, 16-7, 42-22. I think they played the better overall game. Hogberg just kind of screwed them, like John said in our group chat. Like, he had a terrible game. And sometimes that happens. He's off. He had a solid cup of coffee last year. Hasn't been as good this year. We'll see if he can rebound and get going. He's a big kid. He just needs to be more consistent in positioning, obviously, and being able to be more uniquely sound, or not uniquely, technically sound. And then he'll be good like he was last year. But right now, not so good for him. But that's the reason why the Oilers won that game, because of poor goaltending of the Senators. I don't think they outplayed the Senators, in my opinion, at all.
2014, 2015.
I thought that was when he was with Phoenix. That's when he
So
was.
was he? Hello, you're gonna force me to check it up here now. I'm gonna have to look at it. Christ, I seem to remember that he was in Pittsburgh. Now that he mentions it.
Oh wait, no, he was. I see a picture of him in Pittsburgh now. He was in Pittsburgh after Phoenix. It was Phoenix, Pittsburgh, then New York. That's what it was. In his age 29 season, he was in Pittsburgh before or after Phoenix, and then before going to those quite a few years in New York. So
So he would have been backing up Flurry there.
yeah,
Yeah. So 259 and a .908, and then what's his career numbers? Does it? Oh, how come it doesn't give me career numbers here? What the heck? Anyways, Cap Friendly doesn't give you career numbers at the bottom.
His career numbers are 264 and a 914.
Well, it's nice,
Yeah,
and that's what we were talking about those the like best backup of this true backup.
138 and 98 career record. 138, 98, and 20 if you want to count overtime.
Yeah, as a true backup, like we were talking about that last time you were on, we picked him as the best true backup in the league for the last little while. As far as the Edmonton game, back to the Edmonton game again. The uh, the highlights is I love watching Pugliarvi grow and play and having a smile on his face and the way he plays the game. Um, he's I think he's going to turn out okay now. He's going to probably turn out all
Seems
right.
like it. He's matured. Yeah, I agree. Definitely seems for sure.
But just as like we were talking about Florida's defense, this defense can't stay like this for Edmonton. It just can't. There is just too much of the same player. Not enough. There's not enough grit. Slater Kukuk has got major limitations. He really shouldn't be playing higher than a 5-6 role. I'm not even sure he should be playing 16 minutes a night. Larson at this stage should not.
Nah, more 14.
Larson at this stage should not be playing 20 minutes a night.
But I'll take him
Barry
though.
needs a better partner to play with him. Uh, yeah, it's there like Barry needs somebody.
No, Larson though, I will say, I don't think he's if in the right system. Like for example, that he's been rumored to Philly. If he comes to Philly, he's going to be used just as a defensive defenseman. The Flyers need a guy that's more just a defensive defenseman because they have too many people that do too much shit and then get caught. So having a defensive defenseman will be smart. Um, that's why he would fit in and he wouldn't play 20 freaking minutes in our system. He would
Yeah,
probably play more like 15.
yeah,
So like
15
he's
minutes
just
a
not,
game,
yeah,
like Hag.
yeah, like 15 minutes about and be the yeah, but he's obviously more consistent and more proven than Robert Hagg, but yeah, kind of. But yeah, I really like Larson's game when he's in the right system for himself. I would definitely not mind if he comes here. But yeah, we're in Edmonton. You have to get better guys around him to make him flourish more. Losing Cliff Bomb obviously has been a massive pain in the butt, obviously, and they haven't been able to overcome it. So
Well, the thing about Larson is he's great at getting the puck off people's sticks. He's one of the
yeah,
best. He's one of the best in the league at it. Actually, that's his. The problem is when it gets on his stick. He needs a guy
yes,
that he needs a guy that can give a quick pass to. And the problem is Barry and him are both righties, I believe.
correct,
Yeah,
correct.
Barry and Larson would be a good combination together, really. If Barry can't play the opposite, and neither can Larson. So there's your problem. Somebody like Larson with Barry would be good, and that's really what Barry needs is a guy like Larson. They tried
Yeah.
it with Kukuk, but Kukuk just isn't good enough.
No, Cuckoo's like a 14 minutes guy a night. That plays well when you play him in the right six man defender, like the six spot defender or fifth spot if needed on the right system, where he was at last year and was able to look solid playing on the third line usually in Chicago. So I think he's a decent defenseman put in the right spot. He's just being overused, and you're going to see guys that are overused not look as good as they're supposed to. It's happened in the past, obviously. Slater Koku's not the first example. Luke Shen was overused here, and obviously he didn't look too sexy. So that's just one example there. So, I mean, I would say Brandon Manning is a prime example, but we don't have to get into that one. So there's just a couple examples there.
We still can't see you, by the way.
Oh, really? Son
Yeah, yeah.
of a... Well, go ahead. What were you going to say? I'll try to figure it out still.
I gotta go back to that was basically it. Their defense needs work. Either that or they need. I mean, not that Koskinen's a bad goaltender, and he played really well last night. Actually, they need like a lights out goaltender. If they're gonna keep it like somewhere near where it is right now, somebody like a Gibson or something like that. Because yeah, one or the other. They really got to improve this defense a lot still. Still have a lot of work to do.
Exactly.
St-
Agreed. And you need another goaltender.
well, yeah, yes, to go at least one to play with Koskinen for sure, at the very least. Grice wouldn't be bad.
No, Bryce would definitely sure as hell fit Edmonton. I agree.
Since we were just talking about him, there's one that would probably work out well, really well. And Holland should have. He played in Detroit, Grice. Or no, no, he didn't before. I thought no, it wasn't before.
Uh,
But no, it's he's in Detroit now, and Holland and Stevie Eisenman have a pretty good relationship, we'd say. So it's quite possible something could be worked out there. Oh, I would be happy to see that. That'd be great. Tell Smith to go. It's off into the sunset. I love him as a player in his career, but as far as Ottawa, the two players that stuck out last night, Dodonov started coming around last night.
yep.
He was playing. He was looking
I
a
do
lot
think
better.
that breakaway probably could have been saved, though. That was kind of like shot right into Koskinen, where I don't think the Donoff even meant to flutter it into him like that, which I think is maybe what threw Koskinen off.
Yeah,
But
it took him by
but
surprise. Yeah.
that definitely could have been saved in my opinion on that breakaway. But yeah, he looked better overall on the ice. I agree with that. And if he can keep doing that, then yeah, that would definitely bring us some much more success and competitiveness to their young studded roster that they have the Batherson, the Stutzlas of the world, the Norrises of the world, and so on. Shabat's on defense, so on and so forth.
Yeah, they need that a lot from a veteran guy like that. I've been a little critical of him, but I mean, I have to admit I have to say when I see a guy turning things around and look a lot better, and last night was the best game I'd seen him play. Uh, this Zub character they picked up from KHL at 25 years old, not a bad, solid influence, a solid defense, right, all around defenseman, nothing too spectacular, but he gets it out of the puck out of the zone really well actually, and seems to be improving every game, which is fun to see. A guy, I think they picked him up off of, signed him out of Russia or signed him out of the KHL or something like that. And anyways, he was looking like
Yeah,
one
he
of the
played for St. Petersburg, the one of the best teams in Russia, SKA St. Petersburg.
yeah, yeah, he was looking like one of the best defensemen they had last night, which is a good and a bad thing. It's good. It's good he's playing that well. It's bad that he's one of the best defensemen you have. Um, didn't notice Shabbat all that much last night, which he's coming back off of injury a little bit, so maybe that's might be why he got a lot of shots.
Brandstrom also. I mean, you can't mention Ottawa without saying he could be something at this point as well. But you also have Chris Tierney as a guy that usually I like to shout out on Ottawa just because I've always liked him as a player. He can play center if need be. He's a wing if he needs to be. He also just is a scrappier than people give him credit for, and is pretty good on his own end. A little bit underrated. People don't give him enough credit on that end. But yeah, I got to give credit where credit's due to a guy like him that I've always liked in his career as well.
Yeah, Artem Anisimov was put on waivers. If that really means
Okay.
anything. So yeah, I don't think anybody's picking him up. John, yeah, staying away from Dallas in his parlays, yeah,
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
and it worked out well for Joe. I faded that game because Dallas has been too inconsistent, and Chicago has been playing over their head, so it was a difficult one to pick. But you picked Chicago last night, right? I can't hear you at all, Joe. Did we lose you? We lost you. Yeah, we lost you. Oh, now you're back.
Hello?
Are you back?
Yeah,
There we
this
go.
thing wasn't doing it. Yeah, okay.
Okay, good. Yeah, so you had Chicago last night.
Correct. Yeah, I put in and Pius Suter made a nice move. Looked good. He's looked good since coming over as well from overseas as a run drafted rookie. So good for him to continue to do well. And Kurashev as well has looked good as a pick in the draft from overseas as well. So good for those two.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, we'll go off to the next game here because there's not much more to talk about that game. All I will say more about that game is Edmonton's probably not going to make the playoffs the way they're playing right now.
No, if they keep the pace that they're playing right now, they will not. I agree.
Outshot 42-22 by the Senators. Uh, uh, that's just inexcusable. Inexcusable for a team that's supposed to be made up to be a cup contender. Not even close. Not even close to a cup contender right now. Um, and they're one of my teams, so that makes me unhappy.
Yep, that's
for
for sure.
well, we'll kind of talk about uh, the Lightning versus
What's there
Predators
to
game.
talk about? Yeah,
This team's just going deeper and deeper and deeper in a hole. The Predators actually didn't play horrible, but if they do play well, their goaltending lets them down. If their goaltending plays well, uh, their player plays with no
forwards, yeah.
no no fire. Um, it's it's just a disaster there in Nashville. I thought that I had an under on this game, and I thought my reasoning was that um, Nashville wouldn't score enough to get it over, and I was right, except for the fact I didn't take enough into account that the Lightning would score plenty.
Yeah, yeah, no, the Lightning have a potent enough offense to score play. That's all that needs to be said about this game. I'll give credit to Rocco Grimaldi for having a hell of a shot for his one goal. He was able to score, like I said, on John's live feed last night. But Stammer continues to do great things. Matthew Joseph, the Joseph brothers, one's doing great in Pittsburgh, Pierre Olivier. And then you got Matthew Joseph doing good down there in Tampa. Great to see them doing well. And then Stammer had a hell of a game as well. I would say Stammer and Joseph were the two stars of that game for me. But that's all I really have to say about that game. That was a blowout that John ended up calling amongst all the games that were actually much closer and more interesting. John said somehow ended up calling the blowout.
Yeah, here's an interesting thing. Ekholm only had 11 minutes last night of ice time.
Yeah, he's getting slow. He's not what he used to be as consistently anymore.
And Dante Fabro had 22.
Yeah, Fad like Fabro.
Yeah, I do. He's starting to come around, but there's been some kind of whispers about Ekholm not being what he used, not just what he used to be, just not being as good as he needs to be, as he can be, for a little while now. And they finally got his ice time stayed up, but last night it dropped quite a bit. And yeah, there's not really
Yeah.
much more to say about that game.
That's deserved though, yeah, because he ain't playing too great. You're not going to keep playing up top if you don't deserve it. So I agree with dropping him in the lineup and letting Fabro play more minutes. Who's a young up and coming budding defenseman that I have very high confidence in, honestly myself.
Yeah, they might want to think about doing that with the rest of their lineup. And why is by the way, you mentioned Grimaldi. Why is this guy getting sad every once in a while? Isn't this a team that needs fire and heart?
And fire, yeah, I agree. No, I don't know. I can't answer that question for you.
That's ridiculous. Like I don't understand the makeup of this team. I don't understand the coaching of this team. The whole thing. If I was owning this team, I would just do it now. Poyle, everybody gone. We'll work on the assistants can take over, and I'll find some new people and a whole new philosophy for my organization. That's maybe I'm going over the top with that, but I don't think so. It's been long enough.
Yeah. No, I mean it's all up to the strategy of what the person running the organization wants, and if that's the way you want to go, that's the way you want to go. That depends on strategic ways of the human being that's doing it.
Yeah, I don't know. Very odd. Uh, so we'll go to the Blackhawks and Stars now, since we were already talking about it, and just more talk about two great kids we can talk about. You know, we talked a lot about Lankinen, but you've really propped up Ottinger quite a bit, and you're looking like a guy who knows what he's talking about now, aren't you?
Yeah, Ottinger's look good. He's a great position goaltender. As I said, he can play the puck well. He kind of quarterbacks his defense very well as well. He does everything you want to see in a young goaltender and a veteran goaltender. He pretty much looks like a veteran, just like Lankinen has this far as well. That's a great goalie matchup. A great young goalie matchup, a matchup that was very fun to watch. I really enjoyed watching. And it was another very close competitive game through and through. That the shots were 35. The Stars were actually able to win in that column to 29, but you were able to get key late scoring after Roop Hintz scored. You got Matthias Janmark is coming out like a bat out of hell since he's been on the Blackhawks, having a great season thus far. He already has 9 points in 14 games. He's on a much better pace than usually the way he's at in his career. And then Pius Suter, as I said, coming over from the Czech Republic, is doing great things as an undrafted rookie in his first year of his career, already having his fifth goal, making a nice move there, to be able to pot that goal. So I think this was a great game for Chicago. Lankinen was able to do well, but it was also a great game for Dallas in the sense of you were able to see Jake Ottinger do very well and compete with a great other young goaltender on the other end as well. And it was a great battle of the beasts in net and a great goaltending duel as well. So I really liked watching this one. It was almost like a MLB pitcher's duel in hockey.
Yeah, you know, that's a really good example. This is a Chicago Blackhawks team that is slick. It's, you know, of course, you've got Kane, but you've also got, and I'm trying to pull it up, but it's not coming up for me for some reason. You've got a lot of very slick players there. They're not really a grinded out team the way they're built right now. A lot because Kirby Doc is hurt, Taves is hurt. They're their meat and potatoes guys are out right now, but they're working a really good strategy. And although they're not really a grinded out team, they're not backing down from anyone either. They're playing like a team that believes in themselves, and and we've talked about it a lot. I chalk a lot of that up to just a brilliant coach in Coulaton there. Um, Matthias Janmark is fitting in really good. It has a new life coming from Dallas, where he was pretty much in a bottom role and not really expected to score. I remember reading something where he went to Chicago because he wanted to try to have a chance to score, and I do believe he's putting up some pretty good numbers right now.
Yeah, 9 points already. Like I said, he's doing well. Yeah, he's doing really well. Looks a lot more really into the game and has a lot more spunk in his skates since coming to Chicago. I agree. He's looked good in Chi-Town.
And you mentioned last night how you love Pius Suter, and that's a guy whose his motor never stops running. If he's not scoring, he's doing something. He's always doing something for
Yeah,
you
he's
on the
always
ice.
noticeable for good things. He doesn't really take stupid penalties either. He's a very smart player, a very good hockey sense. I think this guy's going to end up being a very nice undrafted find, just like they found an undrafted find for their goaltender as well. So nice job by the Blackhawks there.
Yeah, they're building this team in a very underrated way. Like, it's not. A lot of these guys are guys that they pulled off out of free.
Kurashev as well. He wasn't supposed to be as amazing as he's looked early on. He was more of a middle grounds winger. That's probably going to be more of a middle of the lineup winger. Now it looks like if he can play as he's playing, he might be a good second line winger. So that's another great pickup as well.
Yeah, Kurisha, underrated guys that they got in the lower rounds. A lot of them picked them out of the KHL, college free agents. I didn't notice that they picked up Madison Bowie.
Yep,
When was
they
that?
haven't used him. Yeah.
That
I don't remember when it was, but they haven't used him. But I think it's just a nice security blanket to have. He has some pop
he was on the
still if he
ice
can
last
find
night.
it.
They played him last
Oh,
night.
he did. Oh, he did play last night. Oh, I didn't realize. But
Played
well,
10 minutes last night. Yeah.
okay. Well, good for him that he got back in the lineup. Maybe he can consistently stay more in. I didn't realize he was in last night, but good for him. I'm happy for him. I've always liked him and thought he maybe he just needs a shake to go somewhere else, like to get shaken up a little bit in a new system, and maybe this is the system to do that. And we'll see what happens. But I think he might be able to become a decent 6-7 at least, if not more.
Uh, yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, he keeps holding on. People keep on giving him a chance. Started in Washington, went over to Detroit, got his minutes, but found his fell out of favor there. So now here he is in Chicago, where they seem to be doing a good job bringing up defensemen.
Yep.
Last night they went with seven defensemen, and they were giving both Carlson and Bowie a chance. So maybe just throwing them out there and seeing which one's going to work in their roster right now. Uh, Good for them to get an opportunity. And then Dallas had the playoff kid Kivaranta in last night for 17 minutes. Didn't really put any numbers up, but he's back.
Yeah, he's a kid that also plays with the no stopping motor, kind of like Pius Sutter. He will not stop. He'll keep going. He'll keep grinding. He knows he's not one of the most talented guys, but he's going to keep coming at you. And you see that with the Stars minor league team, also named the Stars, obviously. You see that, and they're able to do well down there. And I think he's a good player and a player that's going to be able to at least be a bottom six in and out of the lineup guy that can bring some nice energy to your team. That's nice to have on your roster, if not a tad bit more.
Yeah. Then we'll go off to the next game, and the Golden Knights and oh shoot, the Golden Knights and was it the Ducks? Yeah. Or no,
Correct.
yeah, the Ducks and the
Correct.
Golden Knights. Um,
Yep.
I watched this game. I had the Golden Knights in regulation, and this far in the season, I think uh, the big kind of not big story, but the nice surprise is Stevenson in Vegas. 4 goals already this year. Came basically was let go from Washington, and they identified him as possibly being a top six, or at least getting a chance, and he's really taking the reins and running with it.
Yeah, he's been good. He got his fourth goal last night, which gave him 4-3 on the season for 7 total points. He's been a +6, so he's been good on both ends. He's a good player since going there, getting put in the right opportunity, and that's just been what Vegas has been doing since they became a club. Every guy they've been getting, for the most part, they've been putting right in the right opportunity, finding the right piece of the puzzle to put them into, and not log jamming them into a spot that doesn't work for that such player. So it's been very impressive what they have been doing since their inception. That was only a few years ago. They've been competitive. They've been great. They've been one of the best teams in the league since, and hats off to them for being able to consistently bring in talent that you're able to develop even further and make even better. So.
Yeah, they have really been fantastic at identifying talent. Um, right from the fact that from the expansion, William Carlson, I mean, Columbus just basically let him go. Getting Marcia, so Tuck was pretty well. That was one of the biggest surprises there that happened when Minnesota let Tuck go, and that was also they could keep Dumba.
I thought it was Spurgeon.
Well, they weren't going to let Spurgeon go, I don't think.
I thought that's why they traded though, so they didn't get Spurgeon.
Well,
I could be
I'd
wrong.
have to go back there, but where they would not have protected Spurgeon over who? Dumba, Suter. So they were going to keep Brodeen, Dumba, and Suter and let Spurgeon go. That shows you why there's
Uh,
new management there, because that's who would have been there at the time, right? Suter, Brodeen,
yeah, I
Dumba.
believe so. I just thought I remember hearing it was Spurgeon. I could be wrong. You could be right of it being dumb. I just thought it was
Oh,
Spurgeon. But
it wouldn't surprise me with some of the management they have there. They up until now they've been kind of, but that was Fletcher though. Chuck Fletcher's a pretty good smart guy. I don't know. I think it was likely Dumba. I heard it was Dumba because that's what has been really the big issue now, and now they're back at it again, where Dumba could be the one on the way out again. So
That's true.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, if it was Spurgeon, that's somebody's not looking things very well there. That's for sure. But this Vegas Golden Knights team is without even Peter Angelo in it. Just imagine this team when Peter Angelo gets on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just going to be 5 times better. I mean, this team's already guns blazing, and when you get a Petrangelo on it, I mean, it's just going to be 5 times better. And that's going to be great to see for them, and it's going to be even more fun and exciting to watch this team in Vegas. So yeah, very fun. Hopefully they're able to have more fans and all that and such in eventually as COVID hopefully dies down around the playoffs. But we'll have to see going forward. But definitely a fun team this year to watch as they've had been since their inception, and it's great to see them continue success. They kind of became a second team I enjoy loving to follow just because they've been fun to follow with the great fanfare and all that since they've come into the league. So definitely been a fun team to follow for that reason, and also on the ice production.
And they had their reverse retro jerseys on last night. I haven't heard one
Correct.
person not like it. Have you? Do you like
They're
it?
good. They're good. Yeah, I like them. They're fine. Yeah, they're good jerseys. They're pretty fly. I like the red color. I always have liked red as my favorite color. So yeah, no complaints there. That's one that I'm probably gonna end up copying at some point in the near future. So yeah, definitely like those ones.
Yeah, they're one of those jerseys like they really that will go down in legendary status eventually. That's the thing I love about Vegas is pretty much everything they do is outside of the box with them. Like it's
Yep.
the way they built their team, how they didn't do a normal thing with expansion and just take grab draft picks and build a dynasty, and they took Flurry and a whole bunch of veterans and mixed them in a box and went for the cup, and that's just not normal. It's everything they do is outside the box and fun, and almost makes me want to be a fan of them. Going over to the Anaheim side, we have some news that I hope doesn't last very long for them, except for the fact that it might be the best thing that could happen to them. Gibson was injured.
Yeah, that's obviously something they don't want for the longevity. Obviously, because he's been in trade rumors that they want to move him for assets more sooner rather than later. Not gonna be able to do that if he's out. Miller's gonna have to step up more. Maybe you'll be able to see Dostal sooner rather than later. Who the heck knows? We'll be able to see him sooner rather than later if Gibson's out for longer than expected. But it's going to be interesting how they overcome that because they already don't score enough. They were able to score all of a sudden in this game, but that ain't going to last for the Ducks. They haven't been a consistent scoring team, and that's what they're going to end up going back to. So Miller's not a full blown starter, obviously at 41 or 40 years old, whatever he's at now. So you're going to have to figure it out and patch it together. And who's going to become the backup? Is it Dawson or someone else? But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, Gibson being out of that lineup pretty much assures they're going to be in the bottom of the league. Um, like just an absolutely devastating loss for them. It's really the only thing that they had going for them at all. Last night they didn't look like they had much left in them. One thing that was really cool though is Delorier and Reeves went at it last night. Did you see that?
Yes, yeah, that was a nice fight. There was a couple of nice fights when I was on calling the battle in New York with John a couple of days ago, and then last night that was a good one too. A couple of nice banging fights recently in the NHL, which is accustomed to the past and has actually been coming through recently, which is fun to see. As John and I talked about, we love the old school, so bring more old school into this new school here. So I definitely love to see that for
We're
sure.
seeing more fights because they're playing against each other a lot more and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
much more intensity in games and everything. It's I love it. I love it. It's too bad it couldn't stay this way, but it's not going to.
Yep. Hopefully it does, but yeah, I agree. It probably won't, but hope it does for sure.
Next game, Sharks versus the Kings. The Kings look fine, but they cannot afford to have any injuries to their defense at all, and they do, and it really is noticeable. Like no matter what they try to do, they just don't have the talent on the back end right now. with Waugh out and who else is out? There's another guy that's out as well. Um,
Um,
I'm looking it up right now.
Walker, I think, is
Yeah,
still.
Walker. Or, like they can't afford to have anybody because now you've got Austin Strand, who doesn't look like an NHL defenseman. Ole Mata, hasn't been the same ever
He's
since
looked
he
all
had injury.
right.
He's looked okay, but and Michael Anderson and Drew Doughty, Curtis McDermott.
McDermott has actually looked pretty
Yeah,
decent
he
in the
has.
line.
He has looked decent, but shouldn't be playing this many minutes now.
No, well, Bjornford wasn't in. I think they could put him in more, the youngster over a guy like Stronda, probably. But we'll see what happens in the future there. I would do that if I was McClellan. But the Sharks played a pretty good game. They were able to ink it out in a shootout. This was the most exciting game yesterday, in my opinion. They played very well. Meyer, Couture, all the guys you want to play well played great. And then Dustin Brown's having another hell of a season after having a great bounce back season last year. Has 11 points in 12 games. He's actually at a points per game right now. Where last season he had the 35 points, 17 goals, 18 assists, having a bounce back year after having three. Well, actually, he had three good consistent years. That's the thing with Dustin Brown. People have talked about how he went downcline. He actually had 61, 51, had a pretty good year last year, and then now is a points per game. He didn't really go downcline. He just had a year that you would expect when a guy's older and the team loses guys that actually have value on your roster to build younger assets. But he's been doing well again, and that's fantastic to see for the former captain. And then the current captain's doing really well as kind of the pitching facilitator at this point. Velarde, though, looked good. He made that one great move in front of the net. I think he actually looked really good on the ice, who's been struggling a little bit as McClellan is hitting at. They're trying to put him in the right spots to get him going. He definitely looked good for sure. So definitely love to see that. And I think the Kings are going to be the team that gets going as a much better team by the end of the season. But good game by the Sharks for this one at least to be able to win in a shootout.
Yeah, Thomas B. Bjornfist. I don't know what's going on. I think he should be playing more.
Yes, should be in.
They've loved him.
Yes,
They've talked glowingly about him in the past.
should be
Uh,
in.
he should be in. I don't really know
Should be in.
exactly what's going on there. Um, yeah, that's a little confusing. Forward wise, Velarde, I was like really saying I loved him last year, and I'm really excited to see how he's going to do this year, but it seems he's had a little bit of a pullback.
Yeah, I'm not over worried yet. I mean, different guys take different strides, and I think he'll be fine. But he'll be fine over time. His stride was just a little bit longer, but I mean, he looked pretty damn good last night. He made that nice move. Some goalies wouldn't have saved that. That was a nice save there by Jonesy, and so I think he's going to be fine over time. You just got to give him time and be patient. And the Kings have the time because they're going to be the fourth seed at best, or the fifth seed just right out. It's not that they're going to get anywhere far and deep this year unless it's something happens like magical that they're able to pull something out of a hat. So
Yeah, I had the Kings making the playoffs. Remember?
yeah, but that's at the fourth seed, so they're not going to get deep in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Is what
yeah.
I'm.
Oh, I see
Yeah,
what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But I'm saying, yeah, I'm not so sure now. And my reason why, if they didn't, would be injuries, the depth. The thing I liked about the Kings is again they fought through this whole game, but they're a good fighting team. That's I kind they're a team you kind of want to root for. But they fought through the whole game. San Jose Sharks look better than I had seen them for a long time. Now they were playing against LA, so it's kind of hard to judge.
with
But
Walker and Roy out, who are two of the better defensemen, and then Bjornfurt not playing for some reason.
yeah, Carlson looked probably better than I've seen him for a while. Couture
Correct.
looks good. Meyer finally got another goal again, which is bodes well for them because they need to get Meyer going. They need to get those guys going. They're second line scorers like LeBanc and Meyer, those kind of guys, got to get going in San Jose quick because the window's closing real fast.
Yeah, that's for sure, and you have to see what they're able to do. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to make another run at it. They'll probably have to be moving more guys as time goes on, but we'll have to see what happens out there in San Jose.
Kane, uh, yeah, Ryan Donato, he's looked okay. I mean, it's just a whole bunch of okay for San Jose. Nothing that screams we're making the playoffs this year. That's for sure.
No, not that's for sure.
And finally, Winnipeg and Calgary. Did you catch any of this game at all?
I caught some of it. Frost, out of all people, I think was in the Flyers organization. Brian Frost, for a short period of time, scored on a deflection, and then Ehlers, one of the most underrated forwards in all of hockey, was able to pot two to come up clutch for his team. That was the game tying goal. And then Lindholm, who we shouted out, being able to play center and being a great forward. Great to see him put the puck in the net and look very good yesterday on the power play goal to be able to win it there for the Flames. Great game, complete game, battling game, very even game, 29-27 shots. Very good back and forth game. This was a very competitive, probably the second best game of the night to that Kings game. Loved watching this game, and a great closeout goal by Lindholm there to be able to come up in the clutch and win it for them and get that game-winning goal to make it 3-2 Flames. Definitely was one of the best games of the night, second to that Kings game.
This series has been excellent, and people haven't really been paying attention to it too much. Every game has been tight. Every game has been physical. Every two games been aggressive. Um, I've really enjoyed watching it. I Calgary is just looks like it might be turning the corner here. And
Correct.
Valimaki, guys like Valimaki are the guys that are turning the corner with them. You watch his minutes go up here in the second half. He's going to be playing a lot more minutes. By the way, they were
Makes
calling him
sense.
Byron Freeze last night.
Okay.
Froze, yeah.
Uh,
It's actually that's what the commentators were calling him,
okay.
Byron.
I guess that's right. Dubois said for NHL Hockey News Report, how was Dubois doing in his debut? He said he should be doing better himself. He's going to improve, but there was some nice shouts by the coach for the effort and all that effort level, but he knows he has to do better than what he looked himself. So that's kind of where it was at with that.
Yeah, he looked a little lost out there. But I mean, but what are you going to do? It's your first game with all these new
First game with the new
players, and
club.
it's a difficult spot to. I don't even think Winnipeg knows what they're doing with him yet. That's the thing. Are
No,
they going to play him on the wing? He can play on the wing. He played on the wing in junior. Play him on the wing with Stastny, or are they going to play him up the middle and have like a three deep wingers with? I think more than likely he's going to end up on the wing.
yeah, yeah, that could be the case. We'll have to see as time goes on, but that definitely could be the case. He's great on both ends. I feel like he could be utilized if he gets very consistent in the face-off dot, more at center because of how good he is on both ends. But we'll have to see.
Yeah, just the makeup of their lineup. It seems to me that it would be beneficial if he could certainly play the wing. Otherwise, you're going to have Lowry playing fourth line center. It doesn't see, although it's a wonderful luxury to have. I don't think they're deep enough on the wing to be using that luxury in that way. So
Nope.
more than likely, I'd be looking at them playing Dubois on the wing eventually. Um, Calgary, yeah, Calgary is a funny team to watch. But it seems that Jeff Ward is getting the best out of everybody and kind of blocking out all the noise. I like him as a coach. I really, really like him as a coach. And Markstrom looks fantastic in the net there. I don't know. They could pull it through this year. They could absolutely actually pull it through. And what's going on with Lucic? I say it again.
Yeah, I know. Who the hell thought that Milan Lucic would be coming in on a whole new level and actually looking in shape, looking like he's got the skates under him, looking like he's really put a jetpack under him, honestly, like how good he's looked at times this year. So, yeah, good for him. He's looked more like his Bruins original days when he wasn't in shape, but it was just because of, like you said, he was young, so that's what did it for him. So,
Well, he's young. He's in young shape. He didn't work out a lot. I have a feeling that they got through to him and he lost some weight over that. I don't know. He looks completely different than he has the last 2 or 3 years. Uh,
hmm
he looks happy too. So
yeah,
I'm really impressed with Jeff Ward on how been doing with this team with individuals, and as this team as a whole. It's going to be interesting to see what Calgary becomes as they go because I didn't have them making the playoffs this year. However,
I don't think I did either,
but
if I
we
remember
did say
correctly.
that it could go like so many different ways in the North. All of these teams are very good. If you were to put Winnipeg and Calgary in different divisions in the West or whatever, they probably wouldn't have. They probably would be doing fairly well. Um, Again, Winnipeg's defense has really well let him down last night. The Forbert, Stanley, Boileau, Pionk playing that high. DeMello only had 13 minutes last night, which of course he just got back off of injury, so that might be part of
That's
it.
why I think, yeah.
Yeah, they're working him in the lineup slowly, but they definitely need still need an upgrade there. Over the long haul, I think you're going to start seeing Winnipeg start to fall away if there isn't an improvement in that area.
Yep, I definitely agree with that. I think you'll probably see DeMello as a guy work more in the lineup, and you have to see improvements in the key areas and the facets of the game in order to be able to go as far as you hope. And Winnipeg hasn't been as successful as they hope in general already. So
Yeah, so we'll look at tonight's really only two games
two
tonight,
games.
but big games, big games. For the teams involved, especially Boston, maybe not so much. I mean, you never want to lose a game, but they could probably get away if they've had a boner here. But the Rangers, this is enormous for the Rangers. This for the Boston Rangers game.
Yeah, I don't think the Rangers are going to pull it out. The Bruins are more power strong than the Rangers. They're full of a lot more guys that have a lot more pounds. You put them on the power play. The Rangers have taken a couple of bad penalties this year. If you put that B team on the power play, they're going to pounce and flourish and destroy you. Honestly, that the Flyers learned that the hard way. The power plays ranked sixth, and their penalty kills ranked second. They're playing great. They're the best team in faceoffs. The Rangers are the worst team in faceoffs. So if you're not winning faceoffs, you're not able to get possession. Yeah, go Habs hockey news report. We'll get to that game next. But you are not able to get possessions if you're not good at faceoffs. You're not able to generate chances because you're not winning faceoffs. That's what screwed the Rangers over consistently. You got to win more faceoffs. The Bruins do on 5-on-5. That's what makes them at least half decent now on 5-on-5. But they also think the Rangers are going to take the dumb penalties they've been taking with the young guys that are still learning the league. Like Laffy hasn't been what you hope he has been. Kako's still figuring it out. Zibanejad hasn't been what he nearly was last year, even close to it. So I think this game is definitely going to go to the Boston Bruins. I would lean towards them no matter whether Halak is in or Tuukka Rask is in.
Yeah, I agree. Well, there really isn't much between the two except Halak can't carry the weight the like the games that Rask can at this stage of
Longevity
his
weight,
career.
yeah, I got
Yeah,
you.
but for when Halak is rested and ready to go, he's every bit the goaltender that Rask is, except that he has a tendency to drop that hand, much like we talked about Allen as well every once in a while. Maybe not at the same amount, but he's been beat there more than a few times. But yeah, and then Gorgiev is in tonight, which is kind of an odd thing.
Oh yeah, then I definitely think the Bruins will probably win because he's been struggling a little bit this year, and their defense hasn't played as smooth in front of him as Shesterkin. So yeah, B's definitely
Yeah,
good for you, John.
good for good. Oh, John, yeah, John's a Boston
Yeah,
fan. I wonder, is he doing it live tonight? I thought.
I don't know. We should probably let me check. I'll check on my phone, and then if so, we'll definitely push people there to check out the goat, the legend, the man, the myth, the legend, John off the wall hockey doing his live. Um, but I was it was a pleasure and a thrill to be on with him the other night. I loved doing the battle in New York. That was a great game that ended up being a 2-0 final by 2 goals in the third period by the New York Islanders. So that was great to see. Loved it. As of now, there's no schedule for tonight's game. Oh no, no, he said I would be live again tonight. between the Boston Bruins and New York Rangers at 7 p.m. Old Original Six matchup. So yeah, Johnny Boy is on again tonight. So definitely check out Johnny Be Good, John from Off the Wall Hockey. Check him out using all the puns I can possibly think of here. Um, and check him out. Go over to his channel and definitely like, comment, subscribe if you have not already. And check out that game tonight. But what are we into now? We got on a complete tangent. So what the hell will we talk about now?
Well, Hockey News reports mentioned that Zaboral and Miller have been very impressive, and I agree.
Back. Yes, correct.
Impressive
Correct.
indeed. Surprisingly impressive. Miller was injured for like a year and a half or something like that.
That's a great story to see too. Him come back and shine and look good with his D pair. Zaboral, a nice young guy, a good defensive guy, being able to get the pass up a little bit better than I think people might have thought in general. But love to see guys flourish more than people think and outplay their expectations already. And then Miller's a great story. Love to see that.
And
I,
Zaboral, I mean, John and I both said that we weren't really all that impressed with him in the minors.
yeah,
And then he
that
comes
was
comes up and he's playing great.
Yeah, that was awesome actually too. That Clayton Keller goal with point 0.2 seconds left the other night. I was watching that. That was awesome. I agree with NHL Hockey News. I don't know if you saw that in the Blues and Yotes game. Keller scored, I think there was point 0.2 seconds left. That was an awesome play. I definitely agree with that. Hockey News report's definitely a great thing to bring that up. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, that was it was something, and that Rick Tocchet's going to have a long career as a coach. I would say. He's
It's almost gone.
what's that?
Zaboral's bust level. Do you think label? It's
Label. Oh, I think it has to be right now. I mean, you can't talk
yeah.
about it right now the way he's playing. He's been slow.
You just want to see a tad bit consistency, a little tad bit more. That's why I said almost going.
Well, I don't think he's going to be more than a 4-3-4, and in which case he may well always have that little bit of a label, and it's just not his fault. It's not his fault that they took him instead of Barzal and Connor in that 2015 draft. Um, but he didn't progress very fast, and that really didn't help things out too much. But nobody, I don't think you can really say much of anything about him now. I keep on watching the Bruins, thinking Zaboral's going to start fading, and he never does. He just, in fact,
No,
he looks like he's
no,
getting.
he continues to look good. Yeah, he continues to look good. Good on him. I think the bus label's lifted for now. I'm just saying, you want to see more consistency. But yeah, I would definitely say for now. And also, yeah, that backhand pass that Dvorak spun around, who's having a great season himself, to be able to get it to Keller, who they hope is able to take off if they want to continue to have a good run here after taking 3 or 4 from the Blues. That's going to be something they're going to have to look at. Though Clayton Keller taking off amongst Dvorak continuing to do well and others continuing to do their thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's again. I think Rick Tocchet's got a long career as a coach now. If you can get that team moving where they're as competitive as they are, with what they have on paper, you are going to be in the NHL for a long time because there is not much on that. He's everybody's having a great season that needs to have a great season for Arizona right now. Clayton Keller was talking about bus labels. Clayton Keller was already getting that kind of label on him, which is really kind of ridiculous for how he's still like a super young player putting up 40 to 50 points in the NHL. How is that a bust? Did I lose you again? Where did Joe
Yeah, he's a guy that's going to be
go?
good. Everyone has a different track and a different degree. Everybody takes a little bit longer than others, and he's had a great season already in this league. He's already had an above 50-point season. So, I mean, yeah, he's a great player. He's going to be a hell of a player one day, and I think I fully believe in him. It might not be in Arizona, but somewhere he's going to take off and flourish, and we'll see where that's at. But, yeah, that was a great pass, set him up. He could really get going then, and you're right, Luzon is also looking very good for the Bees as well. NHL Hockey News report, you're spot on with that as well.
Okay, so we'll get to the Montreal Toronto game, the big battle of Ontario, Quebec. Uh,
Mm.
this long-standing Original Six battle.
Yep.
I'm going with Toronto here, flat out. I just think that team's just too dynamic for most teams this year. I don't think they're going to lose too many games. And Anderson's playing out of his head.
Yeah, Frederick Anderson is looking really good. Petrie, Gallagher, Toffoli, guys, you like Nick Suzuki's really doing amazing things again. I think being at home, even without the fans and everything, they've looked good there. They've looked comfortable. I feel like I'm going to take Montreal. I'll
Oh,
make NHL hockey news happy. I think Montreal is going to be able to win this game. It's not just for him, but I think that they have a good game and be able to win no matter if Price Allen's in. Allen's looked better now that he's with Price. We talked about this the other day. He doesn't have that glove thing happening where he brings it down too much and then he has to bring it back up. So good on him for fixing that little quirk in his giddy up. So I think it's going to be the Montreal Canadiens by only a 1-goal spread, probably.
they do have Price. Price is confirmed. And
Perfect.
and
Then
I
yeah,
would
even
say that
more.
your Price is actually not having his best start. Uh,
Yes, but he's gonna. I think the thing is that I think that helps me even more though because Price is going to step up against the best teams in my opinion. That's just Carey Price, and he knows Toronto's coming at him full throttle. I think this is going to be when you see Price being Price again, and this is when the price is going to be right, and he's going to take off.
oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it could very well be. I'm not a really. I definitely wouldn't be putting this in as a pick for anybody or anything like that. Um, I'm simply going to Toronto. One of the reasons why I'm going with Toronto is up until now, Montreal's been one of the most penalized teams in
I
the.
got your back.
Who's got your back? What?
Hockey news. He
Oh,
said thanks.
oh, okay. Uh, has been one of the most penalized teams in the league, and Toronto's got the best power play in the league, or close to it, I would have to think.
Yes, they have to be much more disciplined. Fully agreed with that. But if they're able to do that, carry plays like carry, I think they're going to win this game. That's why I think it'll be by one because they'll probably do something stupid to make it become a closer game than it should be.
Oh, okay. You think? Oh, I guess Montreal's depth could be a problem for Toronto. Toronto's high-end scoring could be a problem for Montreal. Anderson's been playing. Anderson right now, I'd say, is the better goaltender of the two.
So, thus far, but I just think, like I said, I think Price is going to step up against the best talent. He knows Anderson's a very, very, very competitive guy that's having a fantastic start this season, the best in his contract year. So I think he's going to be motivated to play the great team and motivated to play the great goaltender on the other end. So I think those two put together, this might be his best game of the season. That's why I take them by a 1-goal game there.
Now, do you think that because it's pretty much assumed that these two high scoring teams will score a lot of goals. Do you think that the coaches for both teams are going to really be focusing on defense here and they'll actually surprise us, kind of like Edmonton Oilers, Toronto? And this will be a lot low scoring than people think?
It definitely has a chance. That's hard to take a bet on though, because then if it doesn't go your way, you really are kicking yourself on something like that. But it definitely has a chance. It's definitely a game that has a high percentage chance to do it, but it's a risk reward type thing with those because you're really kicking yourself if you don't catch those because it's definitely hard to pick with that type of stuff.
Yeah, Price has the best high chance percentage in the league. He's got one of the worst low chance percentages in the league right now. And that would go well to your theory that that's not likely going to happen in these big, huge games like this with Carey Price. He won't. Maybe a team like Ottawa, he'll be off his game, which is like when Ottawa played Montreal. There, Stutzla got one goal in particular on the short side, where that's it. Just normally was not a goal that Price would
Shouldn't have
have.
won in. Yeah, no, agreed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so you're saying that basically because it's a big game, the odds
I
of
think
that
you step
happening.
up to the level. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It'll motivate him. It'll be like when you see a pitcher in baseball that's towards the tail end of his career step up against a great opponent.
Okay. Well, when this part of the on our way out, I was gonna just ask you a few questions. Uh, what to you is what to you is the biggest surprise team this year so far, either bad or good?
Good. The Florida Panthers. They came out great, even with Bob looking not great until this game that we talked about last night. And then I think if he continues to look good, Dreger continues to look good. They have a chance to make it right now. I would probably say they're still on the bubble, but they do have a chance if everyone keeps doing their thing and their goaltending gets consistent amongst Bobrovsky there as well. In terms of a negative, trying to think, I would say probably Nashville, just because I didn't think they would be this damning. Like I didn't think they were going to be as good, but I thought they would definitely be more impressive than they are. So they're just a boring team to watch. They're a pretty flat team this far. So I would say Nashville on that front.
Yeah, Nashville didn't really surprise me. I'd like to say Vancouver, but I mean their schedule has been brutal. But even at that, there's some games where they were far below the level that I thought they would be. I might have to agree with you with the Florida Panthers. Um, I'm not sure. Honestly, I knew Toronto was going to be good. I'm not sure I ever thought they were going to be this good, though. That would be kind of a big surprise to me that they were like they look like they are beat the world type good right now.
Yeah, they look like they're a Stanley Cup contender type good. Yeah, I agree with that.
Totally. Maybe my surprise is the Islanders. They
How
haven't.
bad they are. Yeah.
They just haven't looked good this year, right?
No, agreed. No. And then if Sorokin's able to look more consistent, that'll help too with Varley.
Varley, and it has been to no fault of Varlamov for sure, and that's the thing that's even more surprising. It's not because they're getting bad goaltending, really. The team just isn't playing well defensively. Like when do we ever say that with the New York Islanders?
No, with Barry Trotz, yeah, you don't say that about his team, but they've lost a veteran in Boychuk. They lost Tays. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think they're going to have to bring someone in if they think they're even going to be able to be in it this year.
Yeah. Do you have to get going now, Joe?
Soon, yeah. I mean, aren't we wrapping up anyway?
Yeah. Why don't you head out? I'm just going to talk here a little bit with my own. Just go ahead and head out. I'll finish this off for the next 10 minutes or so. I'm going to talk back and forth with these guys because I know you're probably got to be on your way. So
Yep.
thanks for coming in there, buddy. Awesome again.
Yep. See you later. CL Hockey News. Everyone else in here, have a great, safe, and pleasant day. Enjoy the hockey. Stay safe, everybody. Peace out.
Take care.